Welcome back to the 4th episode of History Mystery with Mr. Lavin.
Today in history, not history.
Oh man. Okay.
It'll be okay. We'll start here. Go.
Welcome back to the 4th episode of Today in History with Mr. Lavin.
Hi.
What happened on this day? in history?
Well, on this day in 1948, there was a presidential election. President Harry Truman, the Democrat, ran against the Republican Governor Thomas Dewey of New York, and an early edition of the Chicago Tribune proclaimed that Dewey had defeated Truman before all the votes were cast. In fact, President Truman won the election, and a famous photograph shows him holding the Chicago Tribune and smiling with its false headline. I guess you could say it was an early example of fake news.
Yeah.
In 1963, on this date, the president of South Vietnam, who we had helped install and supported for almost 10 years, was assassinated in a military coup, which deepened the United States' involvement in Vietnam. And on this day in 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed legislation making Martin Luther King's birthday a federal holiday. So those are the events that happened on this day, November 2nd, in American history.
Okay. So what was the answer to last week's?
Well, if you remember last week's, the last episode, the History Mystery involved President Kennedy cutting short a trip to the Midwest, which had also included a trip to Springfield on Friday, October the 19th, 1962. And the question was, what reason was given for his cutting short the trip and returning to Washington? Was it A, that he had a head cold? Was it B, that his wife had just given birth to a child? Or was it C, that he was going to get married that weekend? And the correct answer, but not really the correct answer, is, the official answer was that he had a head cold. The real reason was that Russian missiles had been discovered in Cuba, and his advisors advised him to get back so that final policy could be formulated. But the official reason given was that he had a head cold. So that was the History Mystery.
So what is going to be this week's
Well,
History
on
Mystery?
Sunday, October 30th, 1938, a radio drama was broadcast nationwide on CBS Radio that frightened a number of people who thought it was a real story. So what was this drama all about? Was it about a Nazi invasion of the United States? Was it about an invasion of the United States by wicked creatures from Mars? Or was it a drama about a giant earthquake that caused the whole west coast of the United States to break off and sink into the ocean?
Okay. That was this episode of Today in History with Mr. Lavin, starring the date November 2nd. The History Mystery will be on the Twitter, right here. And see ya.